Excellency DG, our excellent partners, the UN, VCs, DBCs, deans, colleagues, government, my good friend Makori there, student leaders, youth leaders, volunteers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. You know, I do a lot of youth engagements with some of the youthful leaders in government, and there's always some energy. Come on, when I show up to Ghana, what's going on? I'm going breakfast. Yeah? I'm going breakfast. First of all, it's a privilege to be here. My name is Danvas, Makori. I'm a commissioner at National Cohesion and Integration Commission. It's a privilege to be here, and I'm very thankful for this sparkful invitation. And to show the importance of me being here, as a matter of fact, I am officially supposed to be on leave beginning 1st of December. But since the invitation came, I decided to get back to work today, then go back again on leave schedule. Well, this is important, and I'll share briefly why this is important. I'm glad the DG has spoken, actually. I want him to speak first because I was supposed to formally open the ceremony. I want to close him out. And I'm glad he's given his personal story of his journey and why he got there. I see a lot of young leaders here, students here, and I'm just going to say one thing in his connection, then I'm going to just make my comments and formally open this engagement. You see, there is no shortcut to success. Did you hear me?
Yes.
There is no what? Shortcut to success. It is grit and hard work. Oftentimes, nobody will appreciate you. That's why that story is very important. You see, the reality is, especially as a leader, you rise up in politics and government, people admire, people like, oh, you think it's about luck. Trust me, but 95% it is nothing but grit, which nobody will acknowledge you. You have to fight every single day of your life. And the best way to do it begins with volunteering. I have no time to even give you my story because mine is just to give my remarks, but that's the same story. There is no shortcut to it. I personally do not have the privilege of learning in our local institutions here, higher learning. I spent almost all my adult life outside, and I'm shocked at see the stats that you gave on volunteers in the country. I'm shocked and perplexed, and the reason is because I was in a culture where volunteering is the norm, as in the US for a long time, and especially both in politics, in government, or in any venture, whether it's private. That's what people do naturally, not expecting a pay. We worked, the state I was in, the Senator, Senator Coons, actually was an alumni of the UN. He's an American, came here for an exchange program in the 70s, and loves this country a lot. So we volunteered for his campaigns, and I remember before volunteering for the then US President, who became his President, Barack Obama. And what I saw and coming here were two different cultures, because here everybody wants you to pay them to do something. Okay? So I'm shocked to see that 14 million number, because the challenge we have in our country is that, and that's why I just wanted to pivot before I begin on that story. To the young leaders here, students, listen, I know things are difficult. I know the economy is challenging. I'll sneeze faster. We have a meaning to a ground. This says Nairobi. And I'll mention also that in these remarks. I know how difficult means to a ground is. I know how challenging it is. But let me tell you something. Even before God, there's no shortcut. You gotta put in the effort. social media has lied to us. You see, we post here and it puts pressure upon you. You want the here and now success. So you see somebody posting about mkutano here for UN and Hawaii, all these places, it's cool places, and the people, and then you think no, let me tell you something. You have to put the effort, and it begins with volunteer. And that is how God opens the doors for you. My background is in theology, and I'll say this. There is a verse that I like a lot. As a man soweth, so that what?
That he reapeth.
Is it to be very careful? As you sow, is what you want. There is a verse that is misunderstood. I don't mean to preach, to go to my because I like that story. There's a verse that's misunderstood. It says, give, and it shall come back to you, good measure, shaken down, pressure, and over. Now, your average preacher in church will tell you the giving is indeed a person that trusts and that.
Yeah.
That is theologically incorrect. Look at the context of what Jesus was speaking. The giving he's talking about is what you do to other people.
Yes.
You listen to me? It's what you do to what? Other people. If you do good, if you plant good, you reap what?
Good.
In good measures, pressed down, shaken together, and what?
Over.
Running over. But I did those days you went to wash those jiggers.
Yes.
Is what you got to hear today.
Sure.
Must get. In good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and what? Running over. There's no shortcut. You cannot reap where you've not. No, you can't. But that's what we're telling people on social media, and we're lying to young people that you can reap what you've not. It doesn't work like that. You have to put work, you have to plant, you have to wash jiggers, you have to bud the minute, you have to work where nobody, you have to do the dirty work where nobody recognizes you. And you're doing it from your heart, expecting nothing. And let me tell you something. One day, it's a principle, it's a universal principle. Whether you're in Iran, whether you're in Afghanistan, whether you're in Kibra, you will reap what you have sown. Now, to my remarks, I just wanted to, because this is important, especially in where we spatially working. 7 years this week, the United Nations Security Council passed Resolution 2250, which Adamaka has mentioned, on youth, peace, and security. And the idea was actually to make the youth space, appreciate the need, the contribution, to make sure they contribute to peace, in prevention, in mitigation, and in conflict resolution. And it had 5 pillars, which I'll only mention 2 for the sake of time, and for the sake of this meeting and what we have done with USPAC together with the UNDP. One was participation. 2250, participation. I had 5 pillars. 2250, participation. You see, the reality in government, especially, is the youth are not represented. That's just a fact. And for the few of us who are there, it is difficult. If you've ever been in a meeting, I've worked in the county government, as a matter of fact. I've served in various capacities in government. I've worked in the previous administrations, both of Kidero and Sonkola, CEC there, I'm a director there, so I know the challenge of youth leadership in government. And there is just no participation. And even when you get there, it is hard for you to operate because nobody really cares about the youth. They'll talk about the youth squares here at the yard. So after that, but I am thankful and I am persuaded that our current administration and our government, because that was the platform that was manifesto which we ran on what? On organizing the youth, especially the grassroots effort, that we actually implement it And the promises that we made to our youth, actually, I know, will persuade will fulfill those promises. But here's the challenge in participation. You see, in the security, infrastructure, and peace, the biggest actors in terms of conflict are youth. Who are used most in conflict? See, it's the youth. Yeah. You see, deans and VCs, I know the context of this is only universities, but our context operates in a national platform. So let me give you the reality in the national platform. If you go to Samburu, if you go to Baragoi right now, if you go to Pokot right now, the people who are fighting those conflicts are who? Let me give you a true story. Last year, we called for a meeting in Kapedo, near Kayuk. We called for a meeting. And what we do is we engage, because we're the preeminent organization come to peace in the country, we engage all actors. We called for a youth meeting. 1,000 Morans came to the meeting. 1,000 of them. All of them carrying AK-47s. None of them can speak Swahili. None of them can speak any English, of course. They have never been to anybody's school. But since they are age 4, 3, 5, they have carried those AK. They are expert marksmen. They came to a meeting. How much we? Maji jume kwenye na handbag, na cell phone kako, wala mjana nini? AK ndio cell phone yao sasa. That's all they know. What give you the reality as it happens? You understand? Now, these are our runners. These are people who are literally age 20 below. Actually, the man most of them are 18 and below. Between 13 and 18. All they have known in their life is what? Conflict. But the people who coordinate, who mastermind, who plan are not there. They're given orders and they do what? Execute. Now, the reverse is true. If we're going to resolve conflicts in our country, let me tell you the truth. You cannot exclude the youth. And that is why in the United Nations Security Council 2250 resolution, but youth participation was extremely important. Because they are the main actors, they are affected the most, okay? They are the perpetrators. But to me also, they are the solution to our conflict. Today, I'm accompanied by a youth leader coming from Massabit. Mama just and there's a reason why I call her here. Mama ran for women rep in the county of Massabit. Massabit is the biggest conflict in our country as we speak. It's complex, it's challenging. We have had 23 engagements in Massabit trying to resolve. Our first engagement in Massabit was with, we called all the youth in Massabit. We didn't call the Wazers as usually, we didn't call the security teams, we meet with everybody, but we called who? The youth. We called about 16, there were about 16 youth. And I can tell you for a fact, that is a challenging conflict, but we listen to them from both sides of the conflict, the Boranas and the Danvas. We listen to them, and the readiness. And guess what? Right there, in the first meeting, had we even just listened to them, which we did, and done what they told us to do, which we did, that conflict would have resolved a long time ago. The solutions to the conflict was right there in the first meeting we had in the county of Massabit, youth participation. And that is why we as a commission we've walked the journey together with UNDP and the UN team with USPA, because we understand if we're going to resolve the challenges of our country, it's going to be through youth participation. Lastly, the five pillars, but I only mentioned two, so I can close, was on partnership. You see, youth are seen as, in government, let me show you the government position on youth. We need to resolve youth issues. Okay, Simeon, the youth part and youth issues. You see, this is the problem we're missing. No. Youth actually partners and the originators of, I've sat in meetings, board meetings, high-level meetings, talking about youth issues, and there's not even a single youth person in those meetings. Yeah. So I asked them, honestly speaking, okay, apart from me, but I'm like, guys, so you guys are talking about youth issues, but there's none, they're not represented here. So how are you going to know their issues, and resolve their issues. And that is why nothing ever changes in our country. Why? Because issues to do with youth, the youth are never what? Sinibwele. No, Sinibwele. Am I making it up? Yeah, speak the truth always, but they want to think I want to speak the truth as it is. And that is why, as a commission, we've partnered with USPAC and a lot of youth partner engagement, organization, the youth space, CSOs and POs, National Youth Council on this issue. Because it is very important for us to bring the youth on the table and walk this journey. Because for me, having worked with them, both in the grassroots and high level, the answer is with them, the solution is with them. It is with them. What matters peace in our country is them. So here's the question: how can we expand and accelerate volunteerism, especially in the youth peace security space? A number of things that we can do. One of them I think that is of urgency is reducing the gap. If you don't know probably now in the government, you know there's a gap between the youth, and government. Basically, what's it? People don't trust. My boys are trust Gaba. I usually switch, me and my young person, I usually switch once in a while. So when you hear that, my boys are trusting you. Okay, my boys also trust Gaba. Dude, they don't trust you. So it is upon us, especially in government, to bridge that gap, to make sure that that is reduced. Number two is basically skills. We have to train, and that's what we're here. You have to train the volunteers. You see, it's good. Lucy, it's one thing to people to volunteer, but it's another thing for them to be trained in that space so they can volunteer and their efforts have much impact. You see, like the DG was saying, his training was in disaster management. You see, he already had that training. So if you were to volunteer in that space, his impact is way higher than somebody who has not what. So it's upon us, especially in this space, in the government sector, Dr. Makori, we have to provide more training capacity for these young people who want to volunteer. We will achieve a higher multiplying effort because you know how many students you have in Kenya. Imagine if we skill them properly, I mean, we will change this dynamic very quickly. Let me finish by saying this. I look at this auditorium, and it's a privilege to be here. I look at the potential that is in this place. The stories you have with the DG and the honorable members of the County Assembly. You had the gentleman who was a Boda rider, now he's a nominated MCA. I'm being told you are a former SPAC alumni. You see, this story is your story too. There's nothing special there. We're not special. We're here by the grace of God. But you sit there, you stand exactly the same chance. You just have to step out and serve and be consistent. And be consistent. Step out, serve and what? Be consistent. Do it, whatever your hands find to do. Do it with all your heart. Because it is God who will repay you. Just that one day, one day you'll be somewhere and somebody will mention your name and those will happen. And you think it was luck. No, it's because one day, one time you did what was right. Serve, serve, serve. Servanthood is not the way to greatness. Servanthood is greatness. You hear me? Servanthood is not a means to an end. No, servanthood is the end. That is the lesson we learned from Christ himself. He served. Not as a means, because he was leader. True leadership is servanthood. Why did you mention you and fellow young ladies and gentlemen? And you see, I see a lot of young leaders here in this place. You know, actually, Joshua was supposed to be here. For those who've gotten here by God's grace, let's not forget our young people. Because today, we forget where we came from. We forget where we came from. Let's hold their hands. Let's open doors for them. Let's pick their calls. When somebody calls for a favor, just speak. Let's do that. Hold somebody's hand. Because even us to get here, somebody had what? our hand. Somebody opened that door. It was beyond us. It wasn't us who opened. Somebody just gave you an opportunity and you shone. So for those of us who are here in leadership, thank you very much. Last but not least, VCs and deans. Last year, actually this year, we did a seminar, symposium called Intergenerational Dialogue. Rather than have this youth engagement as a commission, we called both youth leaders across the country and elders and leaders. And what we discovered is very simple. That when generations are talking and engaging, the chances of there being conflict or misunderstanding is minimum reduced. And then you can impart and mentor and pass on leadership skills and experience to this generation. See them as an opportunity, not as a challenge. This is the best gift we have in the generation. So thank you very much, ladies. Thank you for coming for this meeting. I want to formally now, because that was the task I was given, I want to formally now declare this wonderful conference and symposium formally open. God bless you and thank you very much. Alan, we worked extensively with him, especially during this election period and Uspak. That's why we walked this journey. You see, let me mention this. I was with Stephen Jackson in UK, destination of Mascot. And Stephen Jackson said this, he said something very important. He said this, he said, in his travel across the globe, because his work demands to, he said he has never seen a country with such an advanced and robust peace infrastructure like our country. I first time saw it when this election happened. The reason why peace is not because of Ministry of Interior or NTIC or UNDP, no, it's because of the massive volunteers we saw across the country from Turkana to Lamu to Kajiado. It is young people, his leaders like him and those back and who took initiative by themselves. Should have been the IBC, I don't know why IBC is not here, because we were using the IBC. And people at IBC who, I mean, the biggest volunteers for peace actually were youth who are working for clerks as what? IBC senior. Yeah. You know how many youth were hired in IBC? Close to 500,000 people. You understand? So thank you so much for what you've done and walk this journey together. I hope we continue. We are partners, taking good friends from UN, Martha, Lucy, and the entire leadership. We really look forward to walk this journey to make sure this peace infrastructure is established, and now we can be global leaders when it comes to this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Makori. We really appreciate